Have I told you guys lately exactly how much I love Coach William Christopher Swinney? You may know him affectionately as Dabo. Well, let's go through the list of reasons why I love Dabo Swinney so much. First and most obvious reason being he brought Clemson back to prominence in his head coaching tenure at Clemson, and on top of that, 2 national championships. And it doesn't appear, to me anyway, as if they're going to be slowing down anytime soon, despite what many of you may think or what many of you may want. Now, I don't expect Clemson to be in a national championship hunt every year. I don't even expect Clemson to be in the playoff hunt every year. Hell, I don't even expect Clemson to be in the New Year's Six bowl game hunt every single year, because I'm not delusional, and people, fan bases that expect that from their team every single season, well, they're just delusional. And I like to think that I'm not delusional. But that's the most obvious reason why I love Coach Swinney so much. A very close second, by the way, is the fact that so many people in the college football world, especially the fan world, cannot stand Dabo Swinney. For whatever reason, everything that comes out of his mouth, it's like a punch in the face to these little punks. They can't stand anything that he says. They can't stand anything that he does. And so me being the kind of guy that I am, I love that. I want that out of my coach. I don't want a coach that everybody likes. That's just boring. But again, today or yesterday, the grand opening of the first, that's right, you heard it here, the first NIL branding and educational facility in the country has opened up in Clemson, South Carolina. I know, because I've already heard it from Alabama fans, I've already heard it from Ohio State fans, and I'm sure there's probably a half a dozen or more other major athletic universities that are doing the same thing. They go, oh, this isn't unique to Clemson and Dabo Swinney. Ohio State's building the same thing right now, Pete. Alabama, they're building the same thing right now, Pete. Yeah, but they're not open yet. So that would get, literally, Clemson is the first because they are opening and operational. So, yeah, this reminds me of back when the NIL became a thing, and of course, everybody took the comments from Coach Swinney completely out of context. And this is the problem with the internet today. As you know, Dabo Swinney's got diarrhea of the mouth. So if you ask him what you would think would be a simple question that requires a 1 or 2 sentence answer, he'll turn it into an 8-paragraph answer. So when you talk a lot like that, it's very easy to go into that and pick out 1 or 2 quotes and then say that this is all that he said and don't put any context to it. Now, I'm not claiming that Coach Swinney's the only one that has to deal with this. They do this to everybody. They do this to celebrities. They do this to news people. They do this to politicians. They do this to athletes. Anybody in the public eye is who they do this to. So it's not unique to Dabo Swinney. But I know you guys all remember that everyone was talking about, oh, I thought Dabo Swinney said when they start paying the players, he's going to retire or he's going to go to the NFL or this or that. Of course, that's not what he said at all. What he was referring to, and anybody who's paid attention to this story over the past few years knows this, what he was referring to is if the universities become professional sports leagues. In other words, if the universities are drafting players, essentially paying them contracts, and it's coming out of the pockets of the university. NIL is a totally different thing. As a matter of fact, in the same interview where he said that if they professionalize college sports and the universities start paying players, that he'll go away or go to the NFL, in the very same interview, he said, I have no problem with kids being rewarded for their name, image, and likeness. So imagine that. Imagine him saying that. Well, consequently, when the NIL started to blow up and it just kind of swept across the country like an avalanche, Clemson, yet again, the first major university in the country to have not one, but 2 NIL collectives. And then they go, oh, well, Pete, that doesn't mean he likes it. That just means that he has to do what he has to do because he wants to win. Okay, that's the same thing that Nick Saban says. That's the same thing that Ryan Day says. Hell, that's even the same thing that Jimbo Fisher said. And Jimbo Fisher's out there spending more money than anybody on planet Earth on football players and doing a terrible job at it too, if I could add that. So, yeah, most of these coaches don't like the idea, or at least the opening act of that's what I'll call the opening act of the NIL era. The same thing with the transfer portal. It's been very clear Dabo does not want to build a team through a transfer portal. But again, he said over and over and over and over and over. But people don't know how to listen. He said over and over again that he doesn't have any problem with the transfer portal. He doesn't think it's good for the sport, but he's not against using it if he needs it. But that's not good. Nothing is ever good enough for anybody when Dabo speaks. Nothing. And again, I know I'm ranting here and raving, but this is really not about ranting and raving. This is about me explaining to all of you why I love Dabo Swinney. And the reason is because most of you don't. It's pretty much that simple. This goes beyond football for me. This goes into my personal life too, and also my life right here on YouTube. How many people out there can't stand a certain someone on YouTube that I associate with and call a friend? How many of you out there that are watching right now, or some of you who don't even comment and you'll watch this later, how many of you cannot stand this certain individual? And I like him personally anyway. I consider him a close friend. But one of the other reasons I like him is because a lot of other people don't. Because I can relate. Anybody who is universally liked is definitely an asshole. A lot of you don't like me. A lot of you will come in the comment section on this very video and tell me how I'm a copycat of this person. Because you do it on every single video. But make sure when you do, before you leave that comment, make sure you hit the thumbs up and subscribe button. Because I do these college football videos year round. There is no off season for Pigskin Pete. There is no offseason for Dabo Swinney either. So congratulations to the Clemson Tigers for being the first to develop this NIL branding facility, which, by the way, if you haven't seen this branding facility, it's really amazing. All trash talking aside, it's really an amazing facility. And I have no doubt that these schools like Alabama and Ohio State and Georgia, and I mean, go down the list, will do something similar, equally great facilities and branding and education and all that. I have no doubt about it. But the idea that Clemson is falling behind and Dabo Swinney doesn't know how to adapt to the times and their days are numbered, blah, 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 blah. We'll see about that. Your boy checking out.